Good day, everyone. I'm a little bit familiar with these vacuum sealers. This is a low-priced one. I got it off of Amazon. I have it out of the box already, but here's the box. It came kind of a little bit messed up and stuff. Looks like a spear came through there. Maybe it was in the Amazon and something happened. Not sure. But the item survived. So let's get into this. This is a low-priced one. This is in Canada, so probably even cheaper in the States, but it's a model ZK8861. So there's some information in here, some pointers, tips, all this other stuff. Now, I do things a little bit different than maybe other people. I might utilize it a little bit differently, but let's just get into what came with it. So first, let's just open this up here, because this is important. See these white things? You need to remove those when you're going to use the machine. And keep them, because when you're not using the machine, it's kind of handy to put them on, because you don't want the unit lid to be like pressed down and compressed, because it might damage the seals, like for the vacuum sealer. So keep these, but when you go to use it, remember to take them out. Anyways, that's my first point. Now it does come with some bags. There's a roll here, and to me, people use this differently. I consider that maybe a storage spot at this point when I'm not using it. When I go to use it, I'm going to take that out. Some people use this as a feeder, but we'll get into this. The other thing it comes with a spare gasket for here or up here. It's possible you might damage it somehow. And it also comes with a spare piece of this Teflon tape. Now, this is not a heating element piece of tape. This is just Teflon tape that covers over the element in the event that you, say, tear this somehow. Because if you have a tear in this, the heating element, you can kind of see it behind there. It's going to make a real hot spot, and it's probably going to burn a hole in your plastic bag. And this one also has an attachment. Now, I've never used these before, but this is for attaching to certain types of, I guess, what we should call storage containers. I'll be generic storage containers. They're designed for this to go on, and you can vacuum out the air on certain storage containers. But we'll do a little, I have something to say about this after, but just hang on. And did I mention, yeah, it comes with a roll of bags, and it also comes with some larger bags. That might be good for doing like big things of maybe frozen carrots or something, whatever you want to use it for. So let's get into some operation here. So, okay, I'm going to show you how I use this thing, not how other people use it. What I want to also point out, there's a tray here. And if you're going to use it differently, sealing bags with this thing sitting back there, I recommend taking this tray out because it causes troubles. But I don't use it that way. But what this tray is really for is for if you have like really wet items, something that maybe some fluid's going to get sucked into here. So this tray will capture some liquids, but hopefully you're paying enough attention that you don't even let that happen. So I'm just going to leave that in there for now. And let's do a demo of how I do things, because I don't like wasting stuff, and I find sometimes if I do it with this bag in here and doing the sealing, I end up wasting material. But really, because we're going to make a bag, right? So we need to seal one end and then cut it to size. So to do that, I just simply put the bag right over where that Teflon tape is. Let's put it a little bit further up there. It's good demo anyway. So let's seal that again. My other machine, it doesn't do it this way. So I've been questioning, why does this thing go through that vacuum cycle? And I finally figured it out, because on this particular machine, what it does is it compresses that lid down really hard onto the bag, and that made a really nice seal on there. So that's kind of nice. And this one has a built-in cutter, which is going to be really handy because, I mean, once you get used to using it, you kind of know how big of a bag you need for your project. And in this case, I know I need a bag that's going to be about this big. And so this is your cutter. My other one didn't have a cutter, so this is kind of new to me, and I kind of like it. Kind of get her lined up there. Get a little bit of pressure on there. And voila. You have your little bag ready to go. So we'll get this out of the way. So let's go ahead. I got a little bag ready. Now I predominantly do like hamburgers and stuff like that. If you're making hamburgers, you're gonna vacuum seal them. You have to freeze your hamburgers first, okay? And then vacuum seal them, or else they'll just turn into a great big bag patty. I have myself a little bag of hash browns, and saying these are frozen already. Now the nice thing about this little tray in here, it does help a little bit because there's little notches. And you can put the bag into there, into those little notches. Sort of helps hold it in place as you close the lid. So we'll close the lid. And now we want to click on vacuum, and it's going to vacuum the air out and seal it. So it's sealing right now. I don't know, it has a light in there. You don't really need that, but I guess it makes it look fancy. Okay, so that's all done. So it looked like it did a really good seal. And this is why you always, especially hamburgers, anything that can get crushed, you want to freeze it first if it's going to be going into the freezer. And the only other thing I can tell you that is handy, the other things you can play with and figure it out. My other machine did not have a pulse mode. And what that pulse mode does, I'm not going to put a bag in there, but so you can control how much pressure gets put on the bag. Say you have something that's very soft or something that can get crushed. You might want to use this pulse mode and just take a little bit of air out at a time, and when you think you could have most of the air out and it's good enough and it's not squashing your item, then you would go and just go to the sealing. So you pulse it a few times, get the air out, then just hit sealing. Simple as that, okay? And what's next here? Right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this thing. I actually took this machine apart because I couldn't get the suction to work on this, and I was wondering what was going on. Okay, so everyone, this is the unit. It's all opened up. I was having an issue because I was testing the whole thing. This is for sealing. There's certain kinds of jars you can get or that are made so you can vacuum seal them. And if the unit was upright, basically you plug this in here. The lid has to be closed, as if you're going to vacuum seal a bag. Then you insert this, and then you should have suction here. And they didn't design this very well, to tell you the truth, because it wasn't working. So I took the whole unit apart to see like what's going on with this. And so this is a valve that's in here. And what happens, if I can take this apart, so there's a spring here and a little rubber ball. So this fits together. All fine and good. However, they made this end so that it can't go in. It's hard to get it in far enough to actually compress that little rubber ball so it lets the air pass. And so if you try to vacuum seal the machine, basically it can't pull anything. It's sealed, so it turns off right away. So you really have to, I don't know if they made this a little bit too big or the tapers, it just doesn't go in far enough. Now you can get it to work, but boy, you sure have to do a lot of pushing on there. Like really, really hard. And just keep the camera there. I just want to test it. So yeah, I have to push really hard and I am getting a little bit of airflow, but it's just a bad design in my opinion for this. My other machine, it has the suction thing right underneath in the lid, and essentially you hook this hose right on to an inner suction thing and it works really great. But so you might not be happy with this. Maybe if you put some lube on here, or maybe sand it down so it can go in a little bit further, it will work then. But that's the problem. If it's not working for you, this just is not getting pushed in far enough. Alright, that's all. And basically in this design of it, there's a hole here. I'll move this out a little bit. Whoops, there's a hole over here. And you push this in. And you'll see when I show you, because I took it apart, I couldn't get it to work, but what I ended up having to do is put just a little bit of cooking oil on there. And it's really weird because you have to, maybe it's just this one, maybe, you know, in the manufacturing, maybe things are a little bit out. But man, you really gotta push this thing in, turn it real good. Otherwise, which you'll understand when I show you, it won't work. And to make this work, you do have to close the lid. And one way to test it, so I'm going to select container. Now, if it stops vacuuming right away, it's not sucking air because it thinks it's done. So let's just try it for a second. So if this wasn't pushed in far enough, it would not be sucking air through here and it would stop right away, and that'd be the end of the story. It wouldn't do anything. So just to prove to you that it is working now, it will actually stick onto the table here. So let's put on container. So it's on there. And you're thinking, well, how do you release that? The easiest way, when you press one of these buttons, it releases the vacuum on it. There's a little hose in there, so then it releases. So that's how that works. I mean, if you're doing just normal bags and stuff, of course you have to take this out. But yeah, if you get yours, it took me a while. Like, I actually took the machine apart, so I figured that out. You really got to push this thing in if it's not working. This is one of the lowest priced units you can get. My other one was pretty cheap too, but it was like $80, $85. And I had to replace that one. I'm not going to get into that. But anyways, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this and sort of maybe might help you make a decision about things. So if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And you have a great day. Bye-bye.